Well, hey everybody, we have a really great live coming on for you, and this is Connie that contacted me. And if you'd like to be interviewed, you can do that too. And she has never taught before, and she's really excited about teaching fluid art. And Connie, you can you're in the green room, so you can you can hear this. Correct me if that's wrong. But hey everybody, I want you to meet Connie. Here we go. Say hi, Connie.
Hi, everybody.
Good, good. Well, hey, why don't you tell everybody why you wanted to do this coaching call, right? And this you're the fourth one that we've done in the last couple of weeks since the whole crisis. We're trying to meet the need that's out there for people to be able to do something productive with their time. Actually, I read that the majority of people that are being interviewed, what are you doing with your time, right? Those that are laid off or at home a whole lot more. We're all home a lot more, but can't even go out to eat. What are you doing with your time? And the number one thing is personal growth. And so we're just wanting to jump on that to be able to help people to do that. So hey, Kat, I see Kathy Scott, who was our first interviewer.
Oh, hi, Jackie.
Yeah, is jumped on here. So that's great. So Connie, why don't you just kind of take a minute, introduce yourself, where you've been, where you want to go, what's your thoughts, that kind of thing.
Sure. So I've been creating with fluid art for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And I'm a teacher by trade, an elementary teacher. So I thought it might be a nice parlay for me to teach other people. It
Neat.
seems like whenever I go to a show, people are very interested in the process and the techniques and they just want to learn how it's done and how you get
They do.
these crazy designs, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, well, this might be an opportunity for me to do a little bit of teaching and I've been lurking around the internet trying to figure out how people are doing it, how much they're charging, and basically just the how they get people to come to them to teach them things. So, I'm used to the kids, already being supplied to me when, being a teacher.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
need I need to know, how do I find these
Yeah.
people?
How
And
do we get
then,
them to
and then,
come?
and then what do I do, once I get them?
That's right.
So I'm at the very basic, beginning
Let
of
the
this
let
process.
let me just tell you that the expression "build it and they will come" is no longer true in this world
Right.
today. Okay,
Hmm.
so we need to. That was good advice, I think, at the time, but not so much anymore.
Right.
So
Exactly.
a better adage for today is, you know, g- get them, and ask them what they want, and then build it, right?
Right.
And that's where all of us as fluid art teachers can have a very unique business. And it's one thing that I've said since day one. I've been coaching fluid art teachers for over 2 years now. Is don't worry about competition, right? If you live in an area and there's other people teaching fluid art, don't let that daunt you, because I
Hmm.
promise you, everybody is going to teach differently out of the different gifts that you're given, out of the different personality that you have, right? And
Right.
so there's absolutely no reason to. Matter of fact, when there's other people in my area, I live in a metropolitan area. Valdosta, Georgia has over 100,000 people. I don't see them because it seems like a small town, but there'll be people that pop up and they're doing fluid art, instruction, and I usually seek them out, and I usually try to befriend them, in person. I've even gone to some of their classes and stuff, and then try to have a win-win scenario. Hey, maybe we could do something together. Maybe we
Sure.
could link our audiences. Both of us benefit from, because the same people that are going to come to my class are that are interested in learning, they have something they could learn. Like if you were in the same town with me, Connie, they have something they could learn from you. So why the heck wouldn't I shoot them over to you, and vice versa? They'll
Sure.
now we're increasing the number of people that are aware of fluid art, that are interested in fluid art, that probably will come to our classes and frankly spend more money on our on our offerings. So
Right. And another thing, I mean, especially with me being a beginner, I think it would be helpful to be able to observe other people teaching to see,
absolutely.
what their techniques are and how they deal with, setbacks and that sort of thing as well.
I
So
think you
we
have
can
a
all
really
learn from each other.
Yeah, you have a very wise approach. In our, what I do is offer, actually four different levels in the membership program. One of them's free. It's just kind of informational. The other one is a community, where it's just part of the community of that we have on Facebook. And then the other one is Accelerated, which has some more individual time and attention with me. We do a mastermind call and an individual session monthly, for that. Then there's another one that's really kind of for businesses. It's kind of a higher dollar, program. It's like if Michael's wanted to contract with me to advise them on how to do things like that. So really, the accelerated program is a real good fit for folks. And one of our accelerated members, Vanessa, strangely lives close to me. She's the only one. Everybody else is in Australia, London,
Right.
California, right? And so between where she lives in Tallahassee and I live in Valdosta is a town called Thomasville. And so I've been teaching there for years. And so I invited her, to my last class. I said, just come on up, you'll be my assistant, in that class. And I want, just to be able to see, how I do things. And so she got there an hour early, she helped me break down an hour afterwards. I believe it was, she told me it was a great opportunity for her to be able to see, enhance, and why not? Why
That's
not
good.
do that?
Yeah, that's really good mentorship right there.
Agreed. Yeah, and so I do believe in people really don't realize it, but you're either in a scarcity or an abundance mentality. And scarcity is there's only so many people, and I've got to get as much as I can, and I can't let other people get them. Right? An abundance mentality is, well, everybody would love to do this art. Like you started off by saying, people see me do it and they go, wow, and they look at the outcome, they look at the art, and the first question they have is, how did you do this? It's not usually,
Right.
can I buy this? I wish it was.
Right. That's true.
I have lots
That's
of art
true.
I'd love to sell. But instead, it's like, how did you do? What are these things? Those are cells. Well, what is this? Well, that's when cells come together and it makes lattice work. How does that happen? And it's like, well, it's more of a chemical reaction that takes place on the canvas, really. Then,
Yeah.
cool. Well, everybody, Connie has
And when
this
I was-
wonderful. Go ahead.
But when I was first learning, I couldn't find anyone. I tried to find someone local to help teach me because I could watch these YouTube videos and I thought, wow, this looks really, I can do this, And then you go to do it and you're thinking, what's wrong? Why is this not working?
That's right.
And then you waste a bunch of paint and then you waste a bunch of supplies and canvases and then you've got all this work that's kind of subpar.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I would like to be able to teach people so they don't have to
That's
go through the same
That's
struggles.
perfect. One of my favorite, and I hear it all the time from my students because I always, pass out surveys, and I do both. I do paper survey and then I contact them via the email that I'm collecting. That's the
Right.
gold nugget right there. Is sending them an online survey, just on a Google form like you filled out in preparation for this interview, for this session. And the number one thing that I hear people say is, I wish I would, those that have had any experience before, right, doing it, trying it on their own, is you would have saved me 4 months of trial and error. You would have saved me 6 months of trial and error. I have wasted hundreds and hundreds of dollars of, supplies, that are completely wasted just getting the viscosity of your paint mix down, and you're
for sure.
you're golden. So that's the amazing thing. It's real hard to learn, from a YouTube video or people that are quickly showing you the latest, colander pour, angel wing pour.
Especially the time lapses. They're like four
yeah.
times the speed.
That's right.
It's
Yeah,
very deceiving.
it is. They make it look so easy. Well, guys, Connie has built a Facebook page called Ebb and Flow, and like yours is kind of a play on words like mine. Mine's dynamic fluid art, based on fluid dynamics, right? And yours is Ebb and Flow. I just love that. That's very creative, and
you.
she's done a good job. We'll take a look at that page here in just a little bit. Tell me, why did you want to come on this call? What do you hope to, half an hour from now or whenever we end, what do you hope that you take away?
I think mainly it's the specifics. I feel like I can do the teaching part. That's not so much of a concern for me. It's the specifics. Like, how do I figure out how much to charge that's reasonable for people to spend and, reasonable for my time and the materials that I have to provide. And I'm not necessarily looking to go online with teaching, although that could be something maybe later on that I choose to do. But right now I'm planning for our eventual normal life to come back together.
That might be a minute.
Right? Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait for it, but still.
Yeah, I suggest you don't, because really
Really?
right now, online teaching is a whole lot easier than you think. Your skill set will translate. You're a teacher. right?
Right.
You have the ability to be able to anticipate what the student needs next in an organized step-by-step process in your head, whether or not you write it down or formalize it or not, right? Those
Mm-hmm.
skill sets are going to translate to online. You might need a little bit of education on how to set up your camera, how to work, like even the StreamYard that we're using right now.
Sure.
And I would like to encourage you to start with that because there's just no reason to wait. I have taught at 6 different art centers around my area, okay? Most of them are around a 60-mile radius. One's a little bit outside of that. I have contacted all 6 of them once I got a little bit of a proof of concept in that the Thomasville one that I just talked about, that I'm pretty active teaching at. I contacted them and I just made an offer to them. I said, look, I do a lot of, in my other world, I do a lot of online. I'm a counselor. I do a lot of online therapy. This afternoon, I've got a booked afternoon meeting with clients online. I have this membership program in which I teach online. I can maybe help your other teachers to be able to continue their classes because if you look at all these art centers, what their class offerings are, it's blank. They've removed
Right.
everything. There's nothing on the calendar, and we're looking at once they lift the ban, right, and once they lift the shelter in place orders, right, we're looking at the projection of at least 18 months before our economy, springs back. So we're not just in this short haul, where first everybody thought it was going to be 2 weeks when they closed the schools, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then, it's like, okay, well, now it's going to go until, April. Well, now it's going to go until May. Well, now we've just canceled, the school for the rest of the year, right? And we've been
Mm-hmm.
using, I don't know, in our household, because my wife's a teacher like you, we've been using that as a kind of earmark for what's happening. When everyone wants to know are things going to get back to normal, and it's not going to happen very quickly. And even when we can go to classes and assimilate together, there's going to be people that are hesitant to do so, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
going to be just the economics of being able to do
For
that,
sure.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I contacted this Thomasville Center for the Arts, and I said, I just trying to be helpful. I said, I can show your other teachers how they can move their classes to online, right? In a pretty easy way, no cost way. I use the StreamYard has a free version that I used for about a year before I started paying for, because I
Mm-hmm.
needed some more advanced service, and it's totally worth it. But the free service is awesome. I send it over to a closed Facebook group. I admit people into the Facebook group after they pay. Simple, right? So I told them their teachers could do the same thing. They could continue to sell them, continue to get their 30 or 40%, cut, to support
Mm-hmm.
the Arts Center, which I'm for. And I didn't even realize, but while we were done with the call, because the education director got the executive director on the call, so the 3 of us talked about it, and we brainstormed about several different opportunities that they have there. But at the end of the call, they wanted me to do a series of classes that starts this Friday. So the structure on that one is going to be, it's a free one this Friday, where I'm just going to teach people how to start doing fluid art at home without having to go shopping, right? So instead of using pouring medium, here's some alternatives. Instead of you using additives for cells, here's a list that you can go around your house and look in your beauty cabinet and see if you can find some products with dimethicone in it or
Mm-hmm.
WD-40 or something. These things are things you already know. But, just a list is a 3-column list of alternatives for them to be able to use without having to go shopping. And then join me Friday, and I'm going to show you some techniques. I'm going to show you some workarounds. I'm going to pull some people on camera and see what they got and see how I can help them to be able to get their viscosities right, and while everybody else is learning, that one's going to be free. And then the people that like that, they can sign up for the next 3 Fridays, and it will be a series so that they can do, and I'll do those the same way. And
Mm-hmm.
I've structured what I'm going to be teaching, how I'm going to be teaching it. I'm blessed that my wife's available, and so there's going to be some kids involved. I don't like kids. I like my own kids, but I can discipline them. But I don't
Right.
really like working with other kids. So I'm amazed at you guys that can do this.
Right.
Classroom management is not something that I can do. So she's going to be like over on the laptop, and answering, comments and helping, with more of the kid stuff that will be there. maybe it's an important concept with this is that we're selling a family, household ticket. And so for a single person that's at home, that's fine. That'll be their ticket. But if they have, a mom with 3 kids or, whatever, that's, the ticket covers everybody that's, on the other end of that view. So that's the structure
So
that we're taking and trying to help, so because we don't want to charge like somebody's got like me, a family of 6, we don't want to charge them 6.
right, that's sort of
Yeah.
like the drive-in movie theater idea, maybe,
Yeah, yeah.
per car
car.
load or whatever.
Per household. There we go. I like
So
that.
I know that, and that's, just like I struggle with how to price my art, I struggle with what to charge people
Okay.
because I want it to be accessible to everyone and be affordable, but at the same time, I want to make a little bit of money off of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I struggle with that, and I know that each market is different. Like where you live would be completely different to, Omaha, Nebraska, which is where I live.
hmm
Um, and I don't even know how to go about pricing things.
Yeah, I have a course called Finding Your Happy Price instead of Finding Your Happy Place. It's Finding Your Happy
Nice.
Price, and it goes through more. It's more of an internal mental exercise, right? That gets validated by what you do on the outside, right? As far as people responding to those prices or not. I will tell you that you should. The mentality that seems to work the best is go in high, and then if somebody contacts you and goes, oh gosh, you can always offer them a special deal, a discount, a coupon, a special offer, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you go low, then one is that your students typically don't appreciate it, as much. So let's say like last class I did was $140, for them to attend. All right. It was started at 10 a.m. and with a 1.5 hour break, and then ended at 4. So it was a 2 hour session in the
Oh,
morning and 2.5 hour session in the afternoon. All right.
okay.
Now I am incorporating things from the other, like we talked about. Everybody has a different skill set. And so I teach people, they're kind of meditative processes, but it's stress management. I call it mind-based mood management. And so we
Okay.
went through, we do a mind-based closed eye kind of experience for a few minutes. Then we do art. And then we'd go do another, mind-based mood management experience and then do art. And we just kind of did that all day, right? Went back and forth, back and forth. I
Okay.
think there was 4 of each, the which was a neat experiment. I don't expect everybody that's listening to me right now or watching this video, to have the skill set to do that, right? And you don't need
Right.
it. You have your own skill sets. You have your own thing that you can offer, that your own personality or the other things that you can put into your classes to do that. But I did shift this year, maybe the wrong year to do this, but to more of a day retreat model as opposed to just doing a skill building. But I did start with just basically, okay, this is how you do a swipe. This is how you do a flip cup.
And you're talking about like a person-to-person seminar type of thing,
Yeah,
right?
those were in person. Yeah. Yeah. But teaching online still gives us some really great opportunities. Again, I guess more about the structure is that you can also get into some more. I've finally gotten these art centers that a lot of them have been around for a long time, and so they have that mentality of we've never done it that way before.
Right.
I'm like, okay, but this is modern marketing today, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Friday, if we're going to announce the price, is going to be $29 a class, so times 3 for the whole thing. They can only buy the series.
Okay.
If they opt in that day, all right, then the next day it goes to 39, right? And then before the class starts, then the Wednesday before it starts, which is that's their email cycle, is they send out an e-blast every Wednesday. Then it'll go to 39. Then that'll be over that Wednesday at midnight. So they get that email notification, hey, you got X amount of hours to respond to this. Then it goes to its normal price, which is 45, I think, per class. So, and that
And they have to buy the whole series.
they have to buy the whole series. And one reason why that is that they're going to get access to this group, and they're going to be in this group with my support for a year, right?
Gotcha.
And so these videos, how Facebook, works. It's going to be live videos that get pumped into that group. they have access to it 24/7. So they can attend live and interactive if they like, or if they can't make that time slot, then they can watch it later. They can watch it 6 months from now. They can still ask me questions, that
Sure.
kind of thing. So it's got a what's called a value stack, is where you just put in all these different layers of value, right? What it's worth, and then so it's worth easily over $500. By the time we get done with the value stack, and they're getting it for, even if they pay full price, they're getting it for 147. So it still is like a no brainer. Let me
Yeah.
jump into this. So that's more advanced marketing kind of things.
So the
You can
only
start-
thing I've been exposed to is I've purchased like tutorials from resin artists to try to get my waves down. And it's just basically you go on to their website, you purchase it, they send you the link to it, and then you watch the video whenever you want for as many times as you want to.
Yeah.
I've seen that model. And then I also purchased a class, Shelley Art from Australia. I don't know if you know Shelley Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has the bloom technique.
Okay, got
And
it. Yeah, yeah.
it was
I've
very
noticed you've done a lot of
popular.
blooms. Your blooms are beautiful.
I've been trying to really master that. So
I'm going to show you guys our blooms.
she did the same sort of thing where she made a series of videos and then she has them all available on like Vimeo or something. And
Okay, yeah,
so
yeah.
I've done that. But and then she also has a Facebook group. And to be honest, the Facebook group has been more helpful to me than the videos themselves.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because then you get access to all these people who are trying all of these things.
That's
And you're
right.
like, okay, well, you've tried this, so I'm not going to try that. That didn't work. So, you know what I mean? So then
That
you
is
get to
the-
bounce ideas off of each
That's
other.
the secret right there, okay? All right, I won't have to be active in this group very much
Right.
because they'll answer their own questions.
Well,
right?
that's the thing. Shelley hardly ever answers anybody's questions. It's
Then they
everybody
do.
else answering. So they're doing all the work,
That's
basically.
right.
At
And then
first, I
they-
was frustrated because I'm like, I wish
paid
you
money for
answer
this.
our questions. Yeah.
It really is the way things are done today, and I belong to several groups and memberships like that, and it's amazing. I've watched my friend Matt Tommy, who has Thriving Christian Artists. It's mostly for artists to sell, and but he does many different things. He has a very advanced program. I mean, he has over 300 videos, as part of his
Wow.
membership. But once you get onto the community, he has to like encourage people all the time. Okay, guys, quit being on Facebook. Go watch the videos. Get some work done because they're on the Facebook. They love
Right.
it. They're connecting
Well,
with
and
other people.
people are social beings. So
Especially
we
now,
like to be social.
especially
Yeah, that's true.
now, Connie, remember that you could be part of the solution for what people are needing right now, right?
Right. Well, that's the thing. Nebraska has been like late adopters to any sort of like distancing.
Oh, okay.
So at the very beginning, I thought, oh, they're limiting it to 20 people. So I'll just start this business now and I'll have like groups of 6 come over to my home studio and we will do our stuff. And then I spoke to my husband and he's like, honey, I don't know if I want us to be like a hotbed of coronavirus in our house, letting all these people come
You
and
live
go
in a
out of our
petri
house.
dish now.
Right. But anyway, so I've been really trying hard to build up my social media audience. And I try to do that through Instagram and Facebook, but I don't know how effective it is, to
That's
be
fair.
honest with you.
Well, let's talk about
So-
your goals there, because
Yeah, let's
from
do
what I
that.
can see, your representation on your beautiful website and your very good Facebook page, which we'll look at it a little bit more later, is to sell art. And so currently you have no offerings out there that I can see about teaching
true.
art. Is that correct? Okay. All right.
It's true.
So what I'd like to recommend to you is that you build a separate business page. You can link them and refer to them to each other, right? But the other one is specifically for teaching, and you want that to be clearly understood, right?
Okay.
So even if we look at the pictures over here on yours, let's see, sorry about that. Get off. Go back to your page. Oh, hi there, Andrew. There's you. Even this page tells me, hey, she does art, right? But I don't really know what to do with it, right? And
Right.
so, and as you go down your page, you want it to be very apparent that these are for sale, and more than that, you want to see that people are buying them. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
in your pinned post up here, I normally don't advise like on how to sell, but we'll translate this into teaching here in a little bit. Is that you want to have a price tag front and center, so that people know this is for sale. You're not just showing people, hey, look what I did, all right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is what 99% of the people are out there posting fluid art are doing, right? They're like,
Mm-hmm.
look what I did today, it's so cool, and they want people to be as interested as we are. So price
Are you
tags.
saying that they're not interested? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's
No,
right. They are
I
not. My
know. I
friends are so
understand.
sick of fluid art. On my my profile, they're just like, okay, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, whatever, right?
I've seen it. Go get on with something else in your life, right? Uh, so even better, like your pin post up here for your sell page would be, a customer buying it, right? And holding it, there, like
Oh,
those excited
I
look.
have one of those pictures in my
Make it your
portfolio.
front. Yeah, make
Make
it
it my
make it the
front.
top.
Okay.
Maybe even like, did you make this in Canva? Your
Yeah.
cover. Okay, great. So I'd swap out one of those with one of those pictures. That you've cropped real well, and you can see. That looks. Another thing to put in this particular news feed is people that, after they buy your art, ask them to take a picture of where they hang it in their house and send it
Yes.
to you. And
Yes.
that communicates. I mean, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? That communicates teraquads of information.
Mm-hmm.
So because they used to say that people, when they landed on your page or whatever, your website, you had 3 seconds to get their attention before they clicked off. It's gone down to about a second and a half now. We are so click happy, right? We're just
Mm-hmm.
like, do I want this? Do I want this? Click, 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 And so you got to catch them. You got to communicate, and you got a second to
Mm-hmm.
communicate what you are doing, right? And have enough of an intrigue there so that they continue to look, right?
Yeah, that's one thing about the Facebook page is I usually always ask people, if you've purchased something from me to
Great.
write a review and, show
Yes.
a picture. And so I do that. And sometimes they get confused and they don't write a review, but they do post it on my page,
Yeah.
or maybe they do both, or yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Can I give you a hint with
tricky.
that?
Yeah.
Because I just had a great review. This was I also have my Good to Great counseling page too, where I work with clients now solely online. And so I was working with this individual, and he was just going on. I was actually working with his wife, but he was just going on and on and on about the differences and how it's just having a great experience with me in therapy. And so I said, hey, I really appreciate how he's making all these referrals, getting other people to come see me and all this stuff,
Great.
he's CCing me in these emails, and I'm just like, that's just some, I really love those. That's very encouraging to me. Would you mind just copying and pasting that into the review section of my page? And I go to your review tab, right click it, and you'll get a link. And then I give him that link. So when he clicks it, it goes right to the review section. So there's no
Mm-hmm.
confusion. You don't have to give them a multi-step process of
It's a
go
good
to
idea.
my
Usually I do a
page.
screenshot and then I circle the
Yeah,
review
yeah,
tab,
yeah.
but sometimes, that doesn't work either.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. As people get really, technology, right?
Right. Exactly.
So make it as easy on them as possible, and then they go, okay, I'll just click here, and then I just type in my review. I'm like, yeah, just cut and paste what you put in that email would be great. Be done with it in
Okay.
a second. And so, sure enough, he did, and it's a ridiculously glowing, review. It looks really great.
That's awesome. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
cool.
So just keep in mind, the whole with them, what's in it for me, how, do I really want to do this favor for you? That's, if it's, the people will put it off. It's like, gosh, if I'm gonna have to get on I'm gonna have to do this, then do this, and then
Right.
click here and all that, they'll find something else to do. But if you
Make it
go in the
easy.
email, click here, copy, paste, they're like, oh, I could be done with that in a second. I might as well get that done now. Right.
Right.
And,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So be thinking
Yeah.
about that.
I mean, I feel the same way when I have to do things for people,
Yeah.
unless, I really love them a whole lot and I
Yeah.
just really want to hype them up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But even then, our motivation wanes, from that. So
It's
we gotta
true.
we gotta make it easy.
Because
Yeah.
we're all just lazy. No, just
We
kidding.
well, and we're also, even at this time, we're very busy. There's so many
Yeah, it's true.
opportunities, so many things, people are turning their attention to home improvement stuff, since they're stuck at home and they're, this afternoon I got to sand a wall and then paint it. And then, there's just so much going on.
It's true.
So on your, again, anybody who would like to participate in future calls like this, the way it works is I created a Google form, which is a very easy thing to work. And Connie's been just awesome about
Yep,
it. I sent it to her and
I
she
did
sent it
it.
back to me in like
Took
4
me
minutes.
5 minutes, right?
That's right. Yeah. She sent it back to me. I was like, what? You got it done already?
It was easy. Yep.
Good. And you got really good content, right? So, ask some, kind of powerful questions. They're thought provoking, right? To cause, our mind to go down a path that maybe it hasn't gone before. And you've written some really good responses. And so I've got some of them that I pulled up into a document that I just wanted to, so I remember. And there's some things that I'd like to just speak into your life. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, great. So you mentioned, I do think you need some clarity as far as the direction that you want to go into. There's a lot of superfluous things that we could be doing, like building a YouTube channel, building a Pinterest board, all these kind of things that can come. But that kind of is the way that we started off our conversation. The whole idea of, build it and they will come is passe. It's gone. Instead, you've got to find your most immediate, what we call the low-hanging fruit in your area. These are people that you're already connected with. If you sent out an email or put a post on or contacted some friends directly and said, hey, this Saturday at 3 p.m., would you like to learn fluid art from your home? I will, I want you to gather. If you say yes, then I'll send you a gather list and you'll just go around your house and pick up some items, won't even have to go shopping most likely. And then I only want to work with 3 people Saturday at 3:00. And I'll show you my video and we'll go back and forth, and we'll talk and just get your first class underneath your belt, right?
Yeah.
And
I think that's definitely the thing is just jump in and don't worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because and I asked a question about as far as what you fear, right? And do you remember what you shared? What is your
Yeah.
number one fear?
Probably the fear of failure
Yeah, there we
Yeah.
go. Okay,
and not being successful and
Yeah.
that it's just another one of those things that I've done.
yeah, absolutely. So I have some advice to you for that. You ready for it? Fail. There's only
Yeah.
one way around this thing. Go and fail. Fail a lot, right? Goof it up, get as much failure underneath your belt as you possibly can because it's necessary. That's how we learn. And so as you
Right.
do things wrong, and it's kind of nicer to do that in a more safer environment, right? And so you could see yourself, I know, like I suggested, just get a couple friends. You don't even have to go on Facebook. You could just do it on FaceTime, on your computer. On your phone, right? And so you can see them, they can see you. Work with them one at a time, right? And how to do that. And you'll get your teaching strategies down. You'll later, after it's over, you'll reflect and you'll go, oh, that was goofy. I should have had them do this first, before that.
Right. Right.
All that is necessary. The failure is necessary. On our community group, we have something post called Failure Fridays, and so the idea there is that we celebrate people's failures so that they can fail as much as you can, which means taking a risk, right?
Right.
And
Right.
as you take a risk and then fail, then that's how we learn. That's how we become successful. And so that I would just want to encourage you in that, hit the failure, face on, right?
Yeah.
The fear is a terrible motivator, and so we want to get it out of the way as
So
quickly as
hard
possible.
on your ego.
It is. And you mentioned love earlier. Love is a much better motivator. So when I can shift my motivation to, I have this great passion and this thing that I love doing, and I have something really fun to do while other people are sitting at home bored,
Right.
watching TV, and I want to, share some of my love with other people by letting them begin this process and, with their baby steps. And you remember how excited you were, with that, how great,
for sure.
it was. Yeah. To
sure.
do. And so that's just a wonderful thing that we can do. Hey, Pamela, I see you joined us here. Good to see you. Hey guys, if you're here, please do 2 things. One is say hi, and then you'll show up in the comment and I can actually see you on my dashboard. And 2 is maybe before you do that, is right above this, it says there's a StreamYard link. And so if you'll click that, if you've never participated in one of these before, and that's just you giving StreamYard permission to show me your name. All right. With everything that happened with Facebook, what was that, a year ago? they,
Um,
then now they need permission to be able to do that, and that will just show me that I can see that Kathy Scott, Pamela McAdams is on here, right now, and so if you can do that, but I'd love to see it, so please comment. That would be great. All right. So yeah, so that's the fix for fear, is to just go ahead and fail, and fail a lot and feel really good about it because you got to do it anyway.
it's true.
That's great. Okay, before we dive into your page for a minute, did you have any specific questions for me?
No, I mean, I guess I just want you to give it, I'm sure you've already given it the once over to see what can be improved.
Yeah, yeah. Let's take.
And yeah,
Go ahead.
but you're right. I mean, my main goal with this Facebook business page and with my website, obviously, is to sell products, to sell my art. So that has really been the only focus.
Yeah,
But I
and
do
that's
need to get more into, sharing process pictures and, like you said, showing customer pictures and that sort of thing.
yeah for the sale. And then whenever you have a class, right? In particular, if you do an online class, like if you did what I suggested, right? And Saturday you got 3 people and you're online, maybe do it in a Zoom call or a Skype, or whatever,
Sure.
make sure you do a screen capture and make that, tell everybody you're taking a picture and just smile, right? With their paint on their hands and mess on their table, and all this kind of stuff.
Great.
And, then you put that front and center of your page, of your new, ebb and flow teaching or whatever you want to call it. Right.
So create a whole nother business page.
Whole nother business page. Yeah. Yeah. Keep them separate. You don't want to confuse anybody. You can talk about them to each other, right? Matter of fact, I'd make it your pinned post on each page is, hey, if you like my art here, would you like to learn it? Go here, and then get a link, on it.
So
On
is
the other
that
page, you say, hey, if you like this art, but you don't want to do it and you want to buy it, go here.
okay? All right. So this the secondary page, well, the teaching page, let's call it the teaching page. The teaching page would be a private group.
No, you want to make
No,
that not a group, but a page. All right.
just a
So
page.
in the
Okay.
structure, you got your profile, right, which owns your pages, and then your page can own groups, right? It can be level, but so later you can do a group. I wouldn't start it right now, but later so you're going to have like your profile, right? Here's Connie, and then you have 2 pages here. One is for selling art, and one is for teaching art, right?
Okay.
Underneath this teaching art, later you might want to start a group that is for what I've done is I have an alumni group. Anybody who's been in my classes, they can join this group. They can go in there and I love it because again, they answer each other's questions.
Right.
My
Right.
varnish
Right.
clouded over. I don't know what happened here. And somebody gets on there and says, Casey said, wait 3 weeks before you put varnish on,
Right.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't even need to comment.
Nice.
They got it.
Yep.
All right. So this isn't your teaching page; it's your selling page. But we can still learn some of the approaches here. So one is you got a beautiful, I call it your billboard. Really. And there's 3 main things that people look at whenever they are checking you out to see if they want to have anything to do with you. Okay. The first thing is that they're going to see your billboard, and that's going to either keep them or not. The second thing is this round image here, which is who you are. Again, so this is a bit redundant, and so you might want to consider.
Right.
All right, so logo.
Now that I see it up like that, I thought the same thing.
Okay, so is
Yeah.
this your logo?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
so
that's
for
my very first fluid art painting, like
That's cool.
my very first one.
Yeah, yeah,
So I like it,
yeah.
of course.
You may choose just a little. It's not terribly important, but make ebb and flow bigger because when this gets down to its thumbnail, it's going to be really hard for you to be able
Too
to see
small.
that, right? So you
Okay.
have a hover art, here. So when you're as ebb and flow, when you're commenting on, let's say that you have a yard sale Facebook page in your group, or you have an events a Facebook page in your group ran by somebody else, right? And as you comment as ebb and flow, they're going to say, what is this about? And so a lot of people will hover over it and see. And so do you see that it's impossible to read the name in your logo?
Yeah.
Okay. For that.
I've been
But it
thinking
does
about
still show,
having
and
more of
it's-
a design logo instead of just a picture that
yeah,
I've,
well, it can be your picture, but just have, ebb and flow real big and in a way that people can see it real good.
yeah, and
Okay,
I
so
don't
you're-
know if that's possible with that particular painting.
It might be, but with a trick with Canva is that when you get your size right, let's say you do ebb and flow classes or whatever, right, by Connie, whatever you want to call it, and you get that as big as you can in there, is then duplicate that, make one of them like black, and the front one just a little bit lower and a little bit to the right, and so now it has the black shadow, and it makes it a
Oh,
whole lot
okay.
easier to be able to read. And you can make that any color that you want to. You can make it
Do you
yellow.
recommend, sorry to cut you off,
No,
do
you're
you
good.
recommend that the two logos be similar, like between the classes or the teaching page and the business page?
It depends. One is if do you have anybody following or tracking your cell group? Has anybody have people become so familiar? Like the worst thing that Coca-Cola could do right now would be to change their logo, right?
Right.
Because they've
Hmm.
spent millions, billions, maybe over the years, and so if they change their logo, they just threw it away, or they change their
Visual
name. You're right,
recognition, yeah.
that's right.
Hmm.
So if you don't really have that, which I suspect, because I think you said that you
Oh,
just
I
created
maybe
it.
don't. I don't know.
Okay, then maybe then you may not want to invest too much in keeping that
Okay,
way, right? So if you
got
have
it.
something that people can recognize, then it's good to kind of tag it over and connect it in a way.
Hmm.
But otherwise, I probably wouldn't.
Okay.
And you'd want to, again, if the image can convey what you're doing, which is teaching class in this case, right? Then that would be better. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good
Hmm.
point. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Some people I've seen real successful that they don't have the picture zoomed in, but they have the picture zoomed out where you can see the canvas and maybe even see a hand holding it, or maybe even
Hmm.
see some activity like a cup about to pour on it, or
Right, right.
that, and that conveys in that 1.5 seconds that we got. Oh, this person is making this.
Yes,
Okay, so
yes,
why
yes,
are they
yes.
making this? That's intriguing. Okay. Oh, I can learn to make this. All right. So,
Hmm.
so just
Yeah.
that can help. So number one is your cover image here, logo here, right? And then
Hmm.
the next thing is your about section is what your about says. So let's see, we got, all right, good. This is short and concise. I'll use fluid art techniques to create vibrant pieces for your home. Okay, great. All right, so that is it's kind of like a slogan, to your motto,
Right,
to your
right.
logo. So it's conveying very quickly. Here I tell people don't put more than 3 sentences in there. All right.
Okay.
Then you have other places where we can see this. Let's scoot it over. And so here you go into a longer description. It's probably going to link off to a note. Okay, that's still not too bad. Okay, as far as size goes, I started painting with acrylic pouring techniques and immediately found I loved it, using paint conditioners and acrylic paint. Okay, so we're going into some details about that. That's pretty good. Okay, and even then you can tell that you're a teacher, right? Because you're teaching people about that, which is wonderful, and that's going to be especially good over on your teaching page. Try to have the mindset that you're not using your about page to talk about you. You're using the about section to talk about what you can do for them. Does that make
Gotcha.
sense? Okay.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
they need to find themselves in there, right?
Yeah. Good point.
I do have another that I call the 5 Ps, and it's available. I think actually I haven't taken the videos down from acrylic pouring. I did a 5-day challenge over on the acrylic pouring site, and so you could go to the videos and find them. It'd be a little haphazard. They're a part of my mentorship program, which is lots easier to be able to access it that way. But one of the first P in the 5 Ps is people, is understand your people. Who's your audience? What do they need? And so in learning this myself in the last year, I've changed all of my events, all of my outgoing messaging, all of the stuff that, my reader, right? Because I want them
Hmm.
to find themselves, right? What we're going to do in the class and the details about the class are secondary to first the person has to go, wait, that's me, right? And
Hmm.
so you can look at my business is dynamic fluid art, and so you can go on there and look at the events, and you can see the verbiage that I'm using in that. And I don't think I can quote it right now, but it's like, are you ready to go on a new journey in your life? Has your creativity been dormant for a while? Do you sense that there's something more that you'd like to be able to express? These kind of things. So somebody reading that can
Hmm.
go, yeah, I've just been thinking that.
Right. And your verbiage is of like a counselor or a therapist.
Yeah, in a
So
way,
it
yeah,
would be good
yeah.
for me to read that so I can, gather some of that sort of speak.
Yeah, yeah, and actually borrowed it from. I wish I could remember her name, but I attend a lot of online webinars and I follow a lot of gurus. But this lady actually teaches how to do retreats. They're usually more exotic, treats out there. And she taught, I wish I could remember her name. Maybe it'll come to me in a second. But understanding not just the demographics of your perfect ideal, what we call your client avatar, but your your psychographics, right? How does this person describe? Your demographic is how someone would describe on the outside. What do they look like? They have red hair. They're 5'4". Their psychographics is, what are they like on the inside? They have a passion.
What do they need from
for,
you? Yeah.
yeah, and so, and what kind of problems, to the other P, what kind of problems do they have that my business as teaching fluid art can solve some of those problems? Well, how can I address some of those problems? And if you can fit that into the first sentence that somebody reads, where they can identify that this is for me and they have something to offer me, they can solve a problem for me, then they move on to pay. They will pay you to do that. And they won't care that your class is $140 where somebody else is offering one for $35.
Right. Right.
Make sense?
Yep. Totally
Okay,
makes
good,
sense.
Good. You're doing good. All right. Let's see if I can get back to. All right. Good. To your page. All right. So the next thing is really your line of posts, and we've already kind of looked at that. Your action section, your action button here is send message, and that's not bad at all. On my teaching page, I have it as an invitation to join my group. So you can there's all kinds of things that you can set that button to do. It could be buy now, shop now, sign up, call now, contact us, send message, send email, or visit group, right?
Would you suggest that I have my action button be the link to the other page, the teaching page?
That's a really good question. On here, I'm really
Yeah.
kind of just talking about what your future teaching page should be, right?
Oh,
So,
what the teaching page should
yeah,
be. Okay.
I think this one, send message, is great for your sales page because if somebody wants to buy something, you want to make that as easy as possible. And it might be the best option for your teaching page too, especially in the beginning, right?
Okay, so this is another question. So when I'm out actually selling my work and someone says, hey, do you teach classes or do you have any format for me to learn? I usually give them a business card, and my business card has this page listed on it.
Right.
So they'll go to this page, but then if I want to take them from this page to the teaching page, should I have new business cards made or should I just put a button there to take them there?
When you're ready,
what
I
would
mean,
be
you
the-
could plan on doing that for the future so that your business card is kind of split, basically, buy or learn, you might have a division, there in your business card. But if you make your pinned post, you know what that is, right? And
Yeah.
they call it announcements now. At the top of this page, of your sell page, that an opportunity to go and visit their learn page, right? You might even say something, cute like, the number one thing I get asked when people look at my art isn't, can I buy it? It's, how did you do this? So if you're
Right.
one of those and you want to learn how to do this, then I can help you there too. Visit
So I
this
did,
page.
I did have a pinned post.
Do you?
Can you scroll down?
Sure.
I don't know if it may not still be pinned, but I changed
to,
it just recently about, are you interested in learning about fluid art?
Okay.
And there's a picture.
This is a neat feature, by the way, that pops up, with your messaging. So if anybody hasn't done that, when you have your action button to send a message, then you can do things like set these questions that pop up so people can push them and it just automatically
did
sends
you-
a message to you. So that's
How
good.
do you do that again?
You did it.
I did it? Oh, maybe I did.
I was just thinking as I was speaking, I can't remember if that's a completely automated feature of Facebook or if
Right.
it's something that you decide on.
And I may have done that months ago.
I
and
can't
just don't
remember either.
doing this.
and doubtlessly it's changed anyway since then.
Right.
So
And there's some things I can't figure out how to do on my mobile phone, but I can do on my
that's
desktop, like
absolutely
pinning.
true.
pinning,
Facebook
uh,
actually operates on two different sets of servers, and one of them, it's almost like there's two Facebooks. There's a mobile
Right.
one, and then there's a PC one
Desktop.
or laptop. Desktop. Thank you. Version, and it has to translate between the two of them. And you'll notice that they'll update differently, slower. And
Yeah.
so on sometimes and it's minutes or hours or something. But I might do something on my mobile and it doesn't show up on my desktop for some time afterwards. And so it's just linking. But there's so many things, like Kathy, who moderates the teaching group for me, she loves her phone and she hates her laptop. So we quarrel about that all the time because I'm always on my laptop, but she can't do on her phone the things that I can do on my laptop and vice versa. So
Yeah.
there is, yeah. It
It's
appears. What did you
awkward.
want me to look at on your page?
Oh, the interested in learning about fluid art. So there should be this is another thing. I mean, like, I don't know how far you have to go down to scroll to
Okay.
find it, but
Let me
there's a
help you.
post. There's
Let
a
me help you this,
post.
okay? All right, so
Hmm.
here, over here, you can rearrange your tabs over here, okay?
Yes.
Until we get the new Facebook layout, and then that changes
Hmm.
everything. So I've been
Right.
opting out. They've been offering me to move to the new Facebook, and I haven't done it yet because it's going to change everything. The size for your art in the cover is different. It will
Mm.
reinterpret it for you, but it'll also warp it, and so you'll want to like go to Canva and set it, as the right size. But it's going to. I don't like it because it has. You've seen some of the new ones, but it has a gray fade down here at the bottom. So like yours that says new inventory added weekly here at the bottom, you
Hmm.
probably won't be able to read that on the
No,
new layout.
weird.
And this, your logo goes in the center right here. And so anything that you have here will be
That's
covered
more like
up.
the mobile
Yes, it is more like the
way,
mobile.
right?
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. And it might be an effort on their part to unify them to make them look
Yep.
similar.
Maybe.
All right. So you can go into settings and you can change the order of these tabs, right?
Hmm.
And so if you don't like what shows up first, you can go
I
in and
have done
rearrange
that.
these. Okay, great,
Yeah.
great. Okay.
Yep.
Your question was, what are we looking for?
Oh, just keep scrolling until you see a posting that says, interested in learning about fluid art.
Oh, okay. All right.
I could have sworn I put one on there,
Okay.
but where
There
is
it
it?
is.
Oh, here it
There it is.
is.
Great. Good. Interested in learning more about the fluid art. That is great. Okay, great.
And then I thought that I had, yep, and then there's a link to a
Great.
type form.
I don't know what
And
that
then they
is. What's a
can,
type form?
a type form, well, click on it if you'd like.
I'm
It takes you
concerned
to a
about what will
website.
happen. It probably won't show
Oh,
on my screen share because it only does one.
it's basically like a Google form, only
Oh.
prettier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
It,
right. Oh, it's just,
it
like
just,
this is your
you
like your
just,
opt-in, so it says keep me in the loop, and so
yeah,
okay, yeah.
exactly.
Oh
So
yeah.
that way I can capture their
Oh.
name and their email and
Okay, I've
maybe
been
their
on
phone
Typeform
number.
before. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so this would be like what I do with Mailchimp because I use Mailchimp is
MailChimp.
their subscribe form. Sounds very similar. So
Oh,
Mailchimp is a auto responder, email service.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any service that you're using for your email?
No.
Need to be building your email list is the most important thing you need to be doing. I was very naive, and for a year I didn't even collect email addresses, and that was such a mistake. Right.
So how exactly do you do that? Do you do that like face to face and then have them write it down and then you put it into?
I do it three ways. One is we
Okay.
collect it whenever they enroll, right, to my classes. Two, and I have a MOU with I work in cooperation with art centers, all right? Like the one I'm going to be doing this Friday, the free one, right? By the way, I don't
Hmm.
think I finished that story. So I contacted the other 5 art centers and said, hey, I'm doing it for this one. Do you want to do it too? Right. And
Hmm.
so some of them are also joining in.
Nice.
It's easy because once you get someone to buy off on it, the others, it like eliminates their first 7 questions. Is this
Right.
really doable? Is anybody going to buy this? Oh, well, Thomasville's a respected art center. If
You've,
they're going to do
you've
it,
done it before here.
that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. So yeah, we'll do it too. So
Cool.
it jumps on there. Um, I'm so sorry. What
So you do it three ways. You do it in person, online, and then what was the other?
So whenever they enroll, and then I do it in paper. I still have them fill out a paper sign-in sheet that just has their
Okay.
name and their email address, right? Then on there, another form of paper is their survey because I also collect their email again. And so I'm so glad I did because so many times they were in a hurry signing in
Survey.
and I could
Okay.
not read it, right? Or there might be a letter that was off or something, and then I can confirm it against the survey. And then I've gotten a little fancy with it as I pass my phone or a tablet around, and it's basically the subscribe screen for Mailchimp provides.
Yeah, that's
So
what I was hoping to do with the type form. Whenever,
yeah.
I was at a show, I would just give them my
Oh,
tablet and say, here, type
there
in
you
your
go.
information. That
Yeah.
way I wouldn't have to go through multiple steps, but
Well, I am full blown dyslexic. like I'm
oh,
just terrible, right? With it, and
yeah.
so the fact that I make a living by writing right now cracks me.
That's It's good for you though. You have coping skills.
I've got 50 years of coping, yeah. But so the worst thing is, I mean, when I type though, I mean, I finish typing a paragraph and eight, words are underlined in red because of spell check, right? And that's easy. Those are real words, so I just hover over them and go, yeah, that's what I meant. But you don't get to do that with email because email is, Sally Lady 234, or whatever, and it doesn't make sense, and it could be made up or abbreviations or all that stuff. So I usually have, whenever I type them in, I'll have 20% bounce back to me. I'm just terrible at it. So if I can automate that and have them put it in, then I
Yeah,
have a lot less stress.
it's more efficient for sure.
It is more efficient.
Yeah, that's
It's
why I
all
created the type form,
smart.
but nobody's using it.
Well, how
But
many
it's
people you
because of
having come to
me.
your group, right?
That's the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is getting your marketing out there. That'll change. That'll change things. So you got to have more people, coming to your group. But email is still king. Don't let anybody, fool you, tell you. Because I believe that about Facebook. I was like, well, Facebook does all that anyway. Well, but you don't own it. You don't own the list, right? I can. It could take and when I did, when I upgraded my membership and I bought into the Podia platform, which is a membership hosting program, I just imported the CVS file from MailChimp over to Podia. So now all those people are there and I can email them from that. I own that, so if I
Right.
want to go to Kajabi or something else, I can take that with me. You can't do that with Facebook.
Good point.
Yep. So it's good. And you just never know. I mean, Facebook is pretty braggadocious as far as them being invulnerable, but I'm pretty sure that MySpace felt the same way. That could happen. Good. All right. Anything else you want to talk about today? Because we're running up on an hour.
Oh gosh. Not that I can think of.
That time went by fast, didn't it?
The takeaways I'm taking away from this is just do it and practice on some people
Yep.
make a lot of mistakes.
Yep.
Charge when you're ready to charge people. I
Yeah.
still don't know.
Learn before you
Do it.
earn. Yeah.
Oh
Learn
yeah.
before you
Learn
earn.
before you earn. And then when I do start to charge people, I need to keep in mind what my husband calls the tater tot principle.
What's
That
that?
if you price things too low, like they were taking scraps of potatoes to make tater tots when they first invented them. And so they
Awesome. I
thought
love it.
they they ended up charging, a small amount for them because they were just the leftover potatoes that they squished together to make tater tots, and, nothing fancy or special. So they didn't charge very much and they didn't sell very much. But then they raised the price quite a bit and they started selling them.
Fascinating.
And now we have tater tots and we love them, right?
I don't.
So don't don't undervalue yourself
I really like that.
and follow
Yeah.
the tater tot principle.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that once you have your confidence that not perfection, right? We're never,
Right.
ever, ever going to do a perfect class, ever, except
Yeah.
that, right? And so then you can go into class and do an imperfect class and be okay with it, right? I know that,
Right.
7 or 8 things are going to go wrong today. That's life, right?
Right.
But once you got your confidence in, I can teach somebody to do a flip cup, right? And I can teach them to walk away. And if your goal is for them to learn, right? Sometimes we just do classes for fun, and we don't even I don't even teach viscosity or how to mix. It's just like, hey, come use my paints, do this thing, walk out of here. It's more like a paint and sip class. If there is a great intro class, because people don't even, it's the ones that want to learn are going to come back to a workshop.
That's a
Right.
good point. You give them a taste of it.
That's right. So they came there to, because they just want an alternative to the sip and pour class. They don't care about viscosity. They don't care about, pouring mediums and all that stuff. They just want to do it and go, wow, that's cool. And especially with what you're doing, the blooms, they're going to go crazy over that because that's
Right.
like magic,
Right.
It's like, are you a witch? How do you do that?
Right. And that's one of those more advanced techniques where I don't even know if I'd try to teach it to somebody who's
I
just
want to
new.
challenge you in that. I want to challenge you in that. Okay, this is one of my favorite things to do, because like if we were teaching an oil class, right, painting with oils, years, people will go and they'll take a weekly, monthly class with an oil painter, and then years later they've got something that they like, right, because it's hard, right, blending, understanding, perspective, all of that stuff, right, right. But I just want to challenge you with this, all right, Connie? Could you take somebody off the street and say, you come here, all right, and then you tell them you hover over them and you tell them step by step how to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're guiding them, you're teaching them in that, and then create a piece that they're super proud of.
Mm-hmm.
Could that
You
happen?
know, honestly, I think I could
Yep.
because I have coached a lot of people on the Facebook page that are, just starting out.
There you go. Yeah.
And I learned we had to experiment. We had to find different materials because, the lady was in Australia, so we don't have everything they have. And we had to do a lot of collective gathering of materials and figuring it out.
When you're
I know I
teaching,
could do it. I just don't know if I would do it with someone who has never been exposed to fluid art before, ever.
yeah,
It may
yeah.
be more challenging, is what I'm saying.
The point I want to make is that between you and this person, the stranger, right? Okay, that's never done it before, right? You're bringing 90% to the table,
Right.
right? It's almost like that they're, if for some reason you got in an accident and you couldn't use your arms, they're just being your arms,
Sure.
And so the point I'm trying to make is that we can teach even our more advanced stuff to people
Sure.
so that while we're with them, they can pull it off, right? And
Right.
so that's something because I think people get really kind of tied up in is if you're trying to teach everybody so they can work independently, that's a whole nother story.
Right.
But if you want to guide them through a process and then they have something to hang up on their wall, when they're done, and people say, hey, who's the artist? They go, I did that. But
Right.
really, 90% of it was that you did it. But all right, I got a
Yeah.
client waiting on me, so I got to go roll. But
Okay.
it has been really great talking with you, Connie.
Thank you, Casey. I appreciate you sharing your time.
Absolutely. You have a great day, okay?
Thank you.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye, everybody.